Nana, what is the earliest thing you remember?
Myself,
Yeah.
I was in the yard of our house, and I was calling my sister Titanic.
That's the first thing you ever remember?
On the telephone, or you were just calling?
No, not on the phone.
Oh, you're just calling.
I'm just calling. And I remember on our table in the dining room there was a can of pet milk.
Uh-huh.
And they still make it.
Yep. This was when you were like 3 or 4 years old?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And I remember the Titanic sinking.
Do you?
I was 3 years old.
And you remember that? How,
I remember.
how did you hear? What do you remember about it?
Well, they had extra papers.
Uh-huh.
They hollered extra, extra.
And so you can remember that. You can remember them yelling extra, extra when the Titanic sank.
Yes.
Did you understand what it was at all?
I didn't know till that I found out what the extras were about.
Wow.
Who was the president of the United States when you were born, Mother?
I think McKinley was
McKinley?
before Wilson. Wilson was the president during World War I.
Yeah. Do you remember World War I at all?
Yes, my brother was in the Navy.
World War I.
Navy.
Brother Al.
Al.
And you have pictures of him with a Navy uniform on.
He was stationed around Baltimore, but my mother cried her eyes and she thought he sent abroad.
Wow. See, and do you remember when Lindbergh flew and all that?
Oh my God, Lindbergh, I was in a history class at college when he landed in Paris.
You were in so you remember you were sitting in a history class at college when he landed?
When Lindbergh landed in Paris.
And you were sitting in class in a history class?
Yeah.
And Mother,
So how did you find out about it? What, did they just announce it? Or you knew it was, I guess you guys knew it was getting ready to land?
Swept through the class.
Wow.
I was living then.
Oh yeah. You were very little.
Oh,
Charles
no,
Lindbergh.
I was at college.
Oh, okay. Charles Lindbergh was buried in Maui, or is
Yeah.
buried in Maui.
That's neat. So then you remember obviously World War II and everything real well, and Japan, and
Sure, of course
that's neat. So you remember when the Titanic sunk?
I remember the Titanic sinking. I was 3 years old, but I remember.
Wow.
And when Nana was a baby, Fenway Park was built, where the Boston Red Sox played, 1908.
She was one of the first to play
We
there.
were first to play there, right?
Nana, how did you meet Cy?
It was a blind date. Jack Plankton got me the date, but I had to break one date to take that one out of that because I didn't want to break the other.
Well, you were foxy ladies.
Jack,
So you was a blind date?
I was visiting in Baltimore.
Jack is foxy.
And so it was a blind date. And did you love him when you first met him?
No, I did not.
So how'd you end up? What, did he just keep pursuing you, or how'd you end up getting married to
That's
him?
right. I wasn't ready.
Were you pregnant?
Huh? I wasn't ready to get married. I just finished college.
Uh-huh. What, did Cy want to get married right away?
Yeah. So we eloped.
Where did you guys go?
We went to someplace in North Carolina. And we eloped.
Wow. Was your parents upset that you eloped?
I didn't tell them.
How did they find out you were married once you got back?
I think my sister Sophie told me.
Oh, that's how they found out from Sophie?
Uh-huh. But I didn't say anything to my in-laws. Because they said the Holy Ghost when, this wasn't a preacher that married us. It was, what do you call it? Somebody that worked,
Uh-huh. But did you know your grandparents?
Sure.
Well,
Rebecca Weiner was my grandmother,
uh-huh.
and my grandfather was Benjamin Weiner.
And what do they do?
Come here, baby.
They lived in Portsmouth.
What kind of work do they do?
I don't know what they did. I really don't know.
Were you real little when they died?
No, I guess I was about 8 years old.
Oh, so you remember him pretty well. What about Cy's? Did you ever meet Cy's grandparents?
No, I never met his grandparents. I think they were.
Who were Cy's grandparents? Cy
Charles Bank.
and Charles started the clothing business, right?
Charles started the company.
So how did Joseph get into it? Was he Charles's cousin?
Joseph Bank, he apprenticed under Charles. He learned his trade from Charles, the grandfather.
So Charles was Joseph's father. What was the relationship?
Charles was Joseph Banks' his grandfather too. They were cousins, first cousins, Cy and Cy and Charles Bank. No, Charles Bank was Cy's grandfather.
Right. Right. And who was Joseph then, Nana? Joseph
Bank was the first cousin.
Of who?
Cy.
Of Cy.
Of your grandfather.
Wow. So did you know Joseph?
Yeah. His wife was Anna.
Jennifer, where's Cole?
Wow.
And we could always get 10% off at the bank company.
How come? So what was it that Joseph got so big and our family stayed kind of small? Well, Joseph went retail a long time ago. I mean, earlier, didn't they?
Yeah. He went to the retail business.
Wow. Well, that's neat. Okay.
Hey, Bubbles, where are you? Very slow. No, you have to do it very slow. You have to blow on it.